वेलकम बैक टू माय ऑफिशियल यूट्यूब चैनल. दिस इज गौरव यूट्यूब चैनल में आप सभी लोग का स्वागत है. द डिस्कशन ऑफ टुडेज टॉपिक इज वेरी स्पेशल बिकॉज we have recently got a very shocking news that Shubman Gill will or may be missing the first test match against England, and this is the topic of discussion for today. And we have been joined by Soban, Rupendra, and Lucas. So how are you guys? And welcome back to my show to everyone.
Thank you. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Okay, so Lucas, you must be getting that news that Shubman Gill is. I will start with Lucas. Lucas, you must be getting this news that Shubman Gill may miss the first Test match. So, what is how much the biggest setback is this for Indian cricket team and also for Shubman Gill? Lucas, you start first.
Well, firstly, of course, it's a huge blow. He's a wonderful player. He's a top order opening batsman. And that's very crucial in England. To get away with a good start, and to lose him potentially for the first Test match. That is a big blow. But other batsmen have to stand up around him. We saw that against New Zealand that most of the batsmen really struggled, with their conditions of bowling. I think Kohli, Pujara, Rahane, they had a very bad Test match, and they had to step up in this series. And now that Shubman Gill. Yeah, Shubman Gill is now injured. I think it's a good opportunity for Agarwal to step up and to reclaim his position in this Test lineup if Shubman Gill is not available to play.
Okay, we'll discuss about Mayank Agrawal also, but how much is bigger setback for Shubman Gill career also, because he was about to tour his first England tour and he is almost out of the first Test match. Lucas, go ahead.
Well, it is a big blow for him, because he came onto the Test ranks very, very surprisingly in Australia. He played a very aggressive cricket. He took on Hazelwood, he took on Cummins, especially in the Brisbane Test match. He took on world-class bowling attack, and he sort of got some momentum. Everyone's saying, well, this guy's for real. He's not backing down against the world's best attack. He goes. He plays a couple of other Test matches. He does very well in those, and he's came to England. But so far, in the Test World Championship, he had an okay first innings, but his second innings was pretty poor. To be a good batsman, you have to be prepared in all conditions. Swing conditions, flat conditions, seam conditions. It will be a little bit hard for him to come out if he misses the first Test match to get into that environment, especially if the England bowlers are in tune. If they've had a good first Test match, that might be a little bit difficult for him. But I expect a player of his class to bounce back, after the first Test match and get some runs on the board.
Okay, moving on to Rupendra, we'll discuss some in Hindi also because most of the viewers are in Hindi also. So Rupendra, ये पहले ये बताइए आपकी शुभमन गिल के लिए और इंडियन टीम के लिए कितना बड़ा सेटबैक है, क्योंकि शुभमन गिल जो कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया से करियर स्टार्ट कर रहे थे अपना ऑस्ट्रेलिया टूर से, टीम के साथ वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप में मेरे ख्याल से जब स्टार्ट हुआ था तब से वो टीम में बने हुए थे एज अ थर्ड ओपनर. उनको चांस नहीं मिल रहा था, लेकिन जैसे उनको ऑस्ट्रेलिया में चांस मिला उन्होंने अच्छी अपनी पारी खेली. मेरे ख्याल से गैबा में. फिर इंग्लैंड टूर हुआ. इंग्लैंड जब घर पे आई, इंडिया में आई, तो वहां पर भी उन्होंने बहुत ही काफी उनका एवरेज सीरीज रहा जिस हिसाब से उनका स्टैंडर्ड है. फिर वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल होता, वहां पर भी उतना बेहतरीन परफॉर्मेंस नहीं दे पाते हैं. फिर अचानक से वो इंजर्ड हो जाते हैं. तो वो उनके करियर के लिए कितना बड़ा सेटबैक है और इंडिया टीम के लिए? रुपेंद्र
जी बिल्कुल. सबसे बढ़िया हार्ट ब्रेकिंग तो शुभमन गिल के लिए, उसी के साथ साथ इंडिया टीम का भी काफी बड़ा प्रॉब्लम वहां पे रेज हो जाता है, क्योंकि आप वो सेटल कॉम्बिनेशन ट्राई कर रहे थे. पिछले 2-3 सीरीज से आप शुभमन गिल को काफी अच्छा चांस दे रहे थे, लेकिन एक ऐसा टाइम आ गया कि भाई आप इंजर हो गए तो आपको सडनली आपको फोर्सफुली आपको टीम कॉम्बिनेशन चेंज करना पड़ेगा, राइट। तो एक शुभमन गिल के लिए तो एक डिसहार्टनिंग है ही है, क्योंकि वो अभी लाइक उनको काफी अच्छा पाथ मिल रहा था, थोड़ा बहुत चांसेस कोहली ने खुद ने उन पर काफी बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस शो किया था कि भाई आप हमारे साथ प्ले करेंगे, आप हमारे फर्स्ट चॉइस ओपनर रहेंगे इंग्लैंड टूर के लिए। लेकिन उनका जो हैमस्ट्रिंग आ गया, शायद आप एक टेस्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, मेरे हिसाब से मुझे लग रहा है कि ऐसे सोर्सेस से पता चला कि शायद उनका पूरा टूर भी यानी जो जा सकता है कि अगर वो एक भी मैच ना खेले तो ये काफी बड़ा सेटबैक हो सकता है शुभमन गिल के लिए, क्योंकि जस्ट उनका करियर स्टार्ट हुआ था एज ए टेस्ट क्रिकेट, क्योंकि उन्होंने ऑस्ट्रेलिया में काफी अच्छी अटैकिंग क्रिकेट खेली थी तो वहां पे इम्पैक्ट किया था। लेकिन उसके बाद जो इंग्लैंड सीरीज हुई इंडिया में होम, तो वहां पे कुछ एवरेज सीरीज रही, काफी परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाया। सेम गोज विद वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप, वहां के भी जो फाइनल था वहां पे भी काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाया। तो क्वेश्चन तो अराइज हो रहे थे, लेकिन यहाँ पे ब्लेसिंग एंड डिस्कट कैसा वन मैन लॉस अनदर मैन गेन कह सकते कि इसमें शुभमन गिल या केएल राहुल मे बी हनुमा विहारी
रुपेंद्र उस पर भी डिस्कशन करेंगे मेरे ख्याल से। पहले ये बता दीजिए कितना बड़ा लॉस है खासकर शुभमन गिल के लिए, फिर हम लोग प्लेयर बाय प्लेयर डिस्कस करेंगे किसकी अपॉर्चुनिटी है किसके लिए नहीं है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बहुत बड़ा लॉस है, क्योंकि अगर यहाँ पे वो परफॉर्म कर जाते तो एक हमारे को इंडिया टीम को काफी बड़ा सेटल्ड ओपनिंग पेयर मिल जाता। क्योंकि अब यहाँ पे भी सेम क्वेश्चन मार्क रहेगा, अगर इनकेस अगर कोई दूसरा ओपनर वहां पे परफॉर्म कर दिया तो उनकी जगह खतरे में रह सकती है, क्योंकि इंडिया के पास काफी सारे बैकअप ओपनर्स ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं इंडिया के साथ में। तो एक काफी बड़ा डिसहार्टनिंग है। पर्सनली फील कि शुभमन गिल को थोड़ा अच्छा रन मिलना चाहिए था, क्योंकि काफी अच्छे प्लेयर है। आपने देखा होगा ऑस्ट्रेलिया में देख के ऐसे उनकी पारी लाजवाब थी, तो मुझे लगता है कि काफी डिसहार्टनिंग है शुभमन गिल के लिए, उसके साथ टीम इंडिया के लिए भी।
Okay, point taken. Moving on to Shubman. Shubman, your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Rupendra said very valuable points. Actually, he raised a very good question that once you are injured, this Indian team has a lot of talent, a lot of openers. So you fall behind the race. Actually, what happened to 2 years back, 3 years back, to Prithvi Shaw when he was touring Australia? He was all set to blaze in Australia. Just got the hamstring. Just got the injury. Just before the first test, and then he was replaced by Mayank Agrawal, and then we saw what happened. He couldn't regain his place, and you have to feel for Shubman Gill. He's a very aggressive player. He's called the next big thing in Indian cricket. When we talk about England cricket, they talk about Tom Banton. When we talk about New Zealand, we talk about Will Young. So he is the kind of player who could definitely have a like once in a generation kind of a player. Similar to Rishabh Pant. So I think it will be a big loss for a youngster. But I am very surprised that these youngsters, I don't know what happens to them. Sometimes they feel a little bit carefree. Maybe that allows them to be a little bit relaxed, and that injury then happens suddenly within a snap. We have seen a lot of cases like Prithvi Shaw, I said, and it will be for Indian team because they were looking for Shubman Gill. They're banking on Shubman Gill. Now they have to change the team combination, as Rupendra said. They have to play, and they have to bring another person from the squad just for the first test. And Rupendra also said that he might be ruled out from the test series. That is a real possibility, and if that happens, then it will be a shocking. I mean, it will be a shocker for Shubman Gill. It will take him maybe 3 to 4 months. He may miss the IPL. You have to feel for him. And Rupendra said one man's gain is another man's one man's loss is another man's gain. So a big series for KL Rahul, and it just opens the door for the other reserve Indian openers. They can now feel free if they get a test, because they know that one competitor is down. They just need to perform here. If you perform in England, you will become a star. You will become a big name in Indian cricket. And Shubman Gill, he has to wait for his chances. If he has to again go back to Ranji Trophy cricket. He has to perform. So it will be a long ride for Shubman Gill.
Yeah, I will take my point. मैं अपना पॉइंट हिंदी में थोड़ा बताना चाहता हूं कि शुभमन गिल के लिए इसलिए थोड़ा बुरा और फील होता है क्योंकि पहले वो टीम में बने हुए थे, तो 1-2 साल तक टीम में बने हुए थे। थर्ड ओपनर उनको खिलाया जा रहा था। आपको याद होगा मेरे ख्याल से न्यूजीलैंड में जब शायद इंजर्ड हुए थे रोहित शर्मा, राइट? तो रोहित शर्मा इंजरी को होने के बावजूद भी शुभमन गिल को चांस नहीं मिला था, क्योंकि वही थे टीम में वो फर्स्ट चॉइस ऑफ थर्ड चॉइस ऑफ ओपनर। लेकिन पृथ्वी शॉ को बाहर से बुलाया जाता है, उनको सबसे पहले खिलाया जाता है। फिर ऑस्ट्रेलिया में वो बाहर होते हैं, मतलब पहला टेस्ट मैच खेलने के बाद फॉर्म से। उसके बाद उनके मेरे ख्याल से टीम से वो जैसे ही पृथ्वी शॉ बाहर होते हैं, तो फिर शुभमन गिल को मौका मिलता है और शुभमन गिल मतलब छा जाते हैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में। और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जैसे ही वो रन बनाते हैं, पूरी दुनिया की नजर उनके ऊपर पड़ जाती है और फिर उनको टेस्ट इंडिया में खेलने का मौका मिलता है, जहां रैंक टर्नर्स रहते थे। तो वहां पे उनका थोड़ा सा फॉर्म बिगड़ा। फिर यहाँ पे आए इंग्लैंड में, वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल में भी उतना अच्छा रन नहीं स्कोर कर रहे थे, पर उनके लिए बहुत बड़ा सीरीज था, पहला टूर था। पूरी दुनिया की निगाहें उनके ऊपर थी कि कैसा परफॉर्म करेंगे, कैसा नहीं परफॉर्म करेंगे, क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रेलिया में वो बहुत सारे रन बनाकर आ चुके थे। तो ये बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक है, क्योंकि उनको बहुत जल्दी, वैसे भी उनको अपने चांसेस के लिए बहुत वेट करना पड़ा था, तब जाके उनको ऑस्ट्रेलिया में चांस मिला था। उनके पहले वाले जो स्क्वाड में नहीं थे, उनको भी चांस मिल जा रहा था, पर उनको अपने चांसेस के लिए काफी वेट करना पड़ रहा था। ओके गाइस, ये तो था मेरा पॉइंट। मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक। ओके, किसको चांस मिलना चाहिए? हु शुड गेट द चांस ahead of any? I think if you talk about my point of view, I think Mayank Agrawal should get a chance ahead of anyone in this team, because he has scored 200 in the World Test Championship circle that happens to be 2019 to 2021, and just one bad series in Australia and he was done and dusted. He was out of the team and he is still waiting for his turn. So I think should Mayank Agrawal should be given a chance? Lucas, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, he would be my first choice to come back. Agarwal, as you said, he made double 100 against South Africa. He made a double 100 against Bangladesh. He's only really had the one bad series, and that was against Australia.
Yeah.
He's an aggressive batsman that likes to take on spin bowling. We saw that in 2019. Mind you, a couple of his shot selection, in that series, was pretty poor. He got out to Nathan Lyon a couple of times, which probably cost him, a debut 100 and another 100 the next test. But he would be no doubt be my replacement. If you want to go with someone else, you can look outside the box. You can maybe open with Pujara. And go with someone at number.
Another guy, but first thing first, I think Mayank Agrawal deserves the place ahead of anyone. I think.
Yeah, if you were to bring someone in, Agarwal should be the first replacement by a mile. It shouldn't be even close.
Yeah. Moving on to रुपेंद्र, आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं? क्योंकि मयंक अग्रवाल के साथ अगर आप देखेंगे तो जाती तो उनके साथ हुई है, क्योंकि उन्होंने बहुत सारे रन स्कोर किए ओवरसीज के परफॉर्मेंस के दम पे। वैसे इंडिया में ऐसे होता नहीं कि किसी प्लेयर का ओवरसीज में रन उन्होंने अच्छा स्कोर नहीं किया तो उनको ड्रॉप कर दिया जाता है, पर मयंक अग्रवाल के साथ ऐसा हुआ। उनका सिर्फ एक सीरीज खराब किया ऑस्ट्रेलिया में और वो सीधा इस टीम से बाहर हो गए थे। तो मेरे ख्याल से, और प्लस आप फिर भी देखें इस वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप सर्किल में जब से वो टीम में आए हुए तब से उनके बहुत ज्यादा रन है, डबल 100 है, काफी ज्यादा प्रभावित किया पहले ऑस्ट्रेलियन टूर से ही। तो आप इस पे क्या कहना चाहते हैं? सिर्फ मयंक अग्रवाल के बारे में बताइए, क्योंकि मुझे मयंक अग्रवाल के बारे में डिस्कस करना है अभी, क्योंकि मयंक अग्रवाल से पहले आई थिंक कोई भी डिजर्व नहीं करता है ओपनिंग स्लॉट में। रुपेंद्र,
आपको पता होगा इसके पहले जो वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप हो रहा था उसके पहले जो हम शो करते थे वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप का जो कवर कर रहे थे, उसमें मेरा फर्स्ट चॉइस ओपनर मयंक अग्रवाल ही थे शुभमन गिल के जगह पे, मयंक अग्रवाल विद रोहित शर्मा। तो मैं पहले से मयंक अग्रवाल को ही बैक कर रहा, क्योंकि आपको मैंने उनको देखा है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में परफॉर्म करते हुए देखा, उसके साथ साथ न्यूजीलैंड में भी काफी अच्छा है, लाइक कैसे बड़ा स्कोर नहीं किए थे लेकिन काफी ज्यादा बॉल फेस किए थे, स्विंग अच्छा काफी खेल लेते थे, काफी लाइक कॉन्सेंट्रेट करके खेलते थे। तो मैं उनसे पहले से डिपेंडेबल था कि भाई उस मयंक अग्रवाल को ही पहला चांस मिलना चाहिए एज एन ओपनर विद रोहित शर्मा वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप में भी, क्योंकि वो काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म करते आ रहे थे। आप वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप का उनका साइकिल ले लीजिए, काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म किया था। वन बैड सीरीज आप आउट हो गए, लेकिन सेम गुड शुभमन गिल, क्योंकि शुभमन गिल ने ऑस्ट्रेलिया में परफॉर्म किया था लेकिन उनका करंट फॉर्म नहीं था। मैंने पहले उन्हें कहा था कि मयंक अग्रवाल ही यहाँ पे फर्स्ट चॉइस ओपनर होने चाहिए थे, लेकिन अब यहाँ पे चांस मिल गया क्योंकि शुभमन गिल अवेलेबल नहीं होंगे। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि मयंक अग्रवाल को ही चांस मिलेगा और विराट कोहली मयंक अग्रवाल के साथ ही जाएंगे। यहाँ पे काफी सारे डिफरेंट ऑप्शन अवेलेबल है, लेकिन मयंक अग्रवाल को ही यहाँ पे चांस मिलना चाहिए। आईएम तो मुझे ऐसा हैरानी नहीं होगी कि उन्हें को 4 से 5 पूरे टेस्ट मैच को ओपनिंग कराई जाए, तो क्योंकि मैं उनको सपोर्ट कर रहा था, क्योंकि उन्होंने काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म किया था। उनके परफॉर्मेंस के ऊपर मैं उनको अपने टीम में रख रहा था वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल के। उसी के साथ साथ अभी जो इंग्लैंड टूर होने वाला है, मैं तो मेरा फर्स्ट चॉइस ओपनर तो मयंक अग्रवाल ही रहेंगे।
Shobhan, don't you think Mayank Agrawal deserve the opportunity ahead of anyone else in this Indian team?
Yes, absolutely. He was dropped very harsh because he didn't perform well in overseas, and he lost his place to Shubman Gill, who performed exceedingly well in Australia, but again hot and cold in the rank turners against England. So if you talk about openers, I believe KL Rahul also poses a big challenge, because in Indian cricket we have seen to back the big boys, the boys who have performed, the boys who have the temperament, the quality. And I believe Mayank Agrawal and KL Rahul, both are best friends, by the way. Both come from Bangalore, both play for Karnataka. So that's why it will be a very tough selection. Actually, I'm pretty confused whom to pick, because KL Rahul is also a talent. You cannot overlook KL Rahul. But if you talk about performance overseas, 2 double hundreds in the WTC, KL Rahul definitely Mayank Agrawal definitely deserves his chance. He will be tentative. He will be little bit nervous, because he has not performed well in the previous games. He was dropped because of non-performance, and he did play that test match in Gabba, where I guess he performed poorly in the fourth innings. So he scored around 35 runs, and he was batting in a different position. So I believe team might be, in my opinion, Mayank Agrawal should get a chance, but I don't think Indian selector will choose Mayank Agrawal. They will go with KL Rahul, because Mayank Agrawal, even though he's a very gutsy opener who tries, because he's a T20 player. He has been a player who has performed exceedingly well in T20 cricket. He has come to Test cricket as he's like a David Warner, I would say. He's like a David Warner. So I believe, yes, Mayank Agrawal should get a chance, but I won't be surprised if KL Rahul's name is written on the team's 11 come August 14.
Okay, we'll discuss about KL Rahul also. Coming back to the next option. The next option we have, I think, forgetting, I think Hanuma Vihari has also opened in Australia, right, Lucas? That could be an option.
Yeah, Vihari's almost kind of a forgotten player. The good thing about him, he's actually played a lot of English domestic cricket. So he's used to the conditions. He knows what to expect from, the kind of bowling you will get in England, especially from Anderson, Broad. It looks like Rokes will be in that team as well. So he's already adapted to those conditions by playing domestic cricket there. Now there is another one that they could go with if they don't want to go with Agarwal. So I'm just trying to get the pronunciation right. Is it Gaikwad?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Gaikwad.
Yeah, he's an opener. Yeah, he's an opener. I think he's a left-hand or right-hand opener.
Chennai Super Kings.
Ruturaj Gaikwad, I think he's not in the team. He's not in the team at all. He's in Sri Lanka.
He's playing in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. All right.
Shah and Ruturaj both are in Sri Lanka.
Okay, we'll discuss about. So we will discuss all the options we have. What about Vihari? Because we have seen he has opened in Australia. Hasn't made too many big runs, but he had handled the pressure of fast bowling in the overseas very well.
Whoever gets picked, it's going to be a very difficult task, because, like I said, once again, these pitches that India will play against England will be the same as they played against New Zealand, and the same New Zealand played against India. They'll be bowler-friendly pitches. England's middle and top order is just as fragile as anybody else in the world right now. And curators will deliberately try to pick bowling pitches that will bowl out opposition quickly and give their batters the best chance possible. So whoever comes in is going to be very nervous. And as you said, Agarwal's been dropped. His confidence might be low. So he might, as you said, be nervous early. And in these conditions, you cannot afford to be nervous early, because if you're nervous early, your feet doesn't move. You play false shots. And you don't want to bring out Kohli and Pujara out early, which was the problem against New Zealand in the Chess World Championship final. They came out too early. They got exposed to that new ball by the New Zealand bowlers, and it was kind of a nightmare in that second innings. So whoever does play, they're going to be up a lot of pressure. And England know that they only need to get one wicket. Pujara's fragile. Kohli's fragile, Rahane's fragile. They know if they get one wicket, whether it's Broad or it's Anderson, they're right in this game. They could possibly bowl out India for less than 200 or even 150. So it's going to be very difficult for any of those batsmen, whoever they decide to go with. I would go with Agarwal, because he's got a very good technique. He's made 200s against South Africa, 200 against Bangladesh. Albeit that's different conditions, but his technique is very good for Test match cricket. And
don't forget, he also played very well in New Zealand once India was touring New Zealand.
Yes, he played very well as well there in the Test World Championship. So again, that's similar conditions to England, so he has the experience in those conditions. But because he's been dropped for such a long time, after really one bad series, that's you can make a debate. Should he have been dropped in the first place after one bad series? So his confidence, might be very low. And you have, as an opener in England, you have to get a very good start. We've seen with David Warner in the Ashes in 2019, suffer against Stuart Broad, had an absolute nightmare time because he was too nervous. His feet didn't move, and Broad, being a right arm bowler, caused havoc with David Warner, and that might be the same against Agarwal. And India don't have Labuschagne, they don't have Steve Smith, to steady those innings. Kohli and Rahane and Pujara, they're not making any runs out there. They're not in form. And England are going to be up for that. They're going to know that we'll bowl this team out for less than 150, and then it's huge trouble for India if that happens.
रुपेंद्र, आप मुझे ये बताइए कि क्या हनुमा विहारी को भी ट्राई आउट किया जा सकता है?
No, I totally I'm not with your point. मुझे नहीं लगता कि हनुमा विहारी को ट्राई करेंगे एज एन ओपनर, क्योंकि आपके पास काफी सारे ऑप्शन है, लाइक अग्रवाल, के राहुल, लाइक आपके पास ये दो वर्ल्ड क्लास ओपनर। मैं बात बताऊं कि वो आपके पास ये दो अगर आपका स्टेडीली ओपनर अवेलेबल है तो आप हनुमा विहारी क्यों ट्राई करेंगे, राइट? क्योंकि आपको मिडिल ऑर्डर पता है कि आपका मिडिल ऑर्डर काफी फ्रेजाइल है, क्योंकि आपको पता है ऋषभ पंत के बाद यहाँ पे मुझे लगता है जडेजा और उसके साथ अश्विन की जगह यहाँ पे एक मिडिल ऑर्डर में हनुमा विहारी को ट्राई करेंगे। मेरा यहाँ पे जाती ये है ख्याल है कि हनुमा विहारी को मिडिल ऑर्डर में काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है अभी तक के, तो उन्हें मिडिल ऑर्डर में ही ट्राई करना चाहिए। क्योंकि आपको पता होगा कि उन्होंने काफी अपने ऑस्ट्रेलिया में काफी मैच हमें बचाया था, ड्रॉ कराया था, एक सिडनी वाला लाइक वो मैच है वहां पे हमने ड्रॉ किया था, तो वहां पे उनका काफी रोल रहा था। इसी के बाद उसी के पहले काफी जो भी सीरीज खेली उसमें भी उन्होंने काफी अच्छा रोल, लाइक साउथ अफ्रीका जो टूर था उसमें भी हनुमा विहारी ने काफी अच्छे रन स्कोर किए थे। तो वहां पे मुझे लगता है कि हनुमा विहारी के प्लेस एज एन ओपनर से ज्यादा मिडिल ऑर्डर में काफी उनकी जरूरत पड़ेगी। तो मुझे लगता है कि हनुमा विहारी मिडिल ऑर्डर में काफी सुटेबल बैट्समैन रहेंगे एज एन ओपनर, not as an
opener. Moving on to the further options that we have, I think Cheteswar Pujara also can open. I think if you're not forgetting it, Cheteswar Pujara was also an opener in the Sri Lanka tour. I think that was 2016 or 17. I'm not able to remember properly, but he was an opener and where he carried his bat, I think in Sri Lanka. Yeah. And I think Ajinkya Rahane on that series, Ajinkya Rahane batted at number 3, and Cheteswar Pujara was opening in that series. So Cheteswar Pujara is there gonna be option for Team India? because he number three player, number three position is just like an opening slot. If wicket goes down early, it's like an opening situation right now. Lucas.
Yeah. I made this point earlier in the year when they played in Australia that Pujara could have possibly opened. The problem with Pujara opening in this series is that he's out of form, and you don't really want to go up against Broad and Anderson. First over, where they're going to swing, where the ball's going to do something. That could be very bad for Pujara. We know he's got a great defense. He's probably got he's got the best defense in Test cricket, in my opinion. He's got the best temperament, in my opinion, in world cricket, but he's out of form. And when you're out of form, mentally it can get to you. And I don't think it would be appropriate to send him in those conditions against Broad and Anderson, where he's very fragile. So I wouldn't. I think opening him, even though I actually said that they could have opened with him, I think that's past. I think that's gone. If he came out of that Test World Championship with a 100 or with a 50, I'd probably be tempted to put him in the opening spot. But because he did so poorly, he struggled very badly, and he also struggled a bit in the Australian series. I wouldn't mess with that. In my opinion, I would keep him at 3.
Just because of his form, I think he's not in very good form. So you won't be tempting for him to open, right?
Not in his form, no. That could be very bad for not just for the team, but for Pujara as well in his confidence. Because Anderson and Broad, they are the kind of bowlers that they smell blood in the water. They won't take the foot off the gas. They will go after you, and they'll realise that Pujara is very fragile. He's out of form, and they'll go after him, and it could be very, very bad for his confidence. So I wouldn't risk opening with him.
Rupendra, you need to unmute yourself.
नहीं, मैं आपके इस पॉइंट से अग्री नहीं करूंगा, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि फिर आप अगर नंबर 3 अगर पुजारा को आप ओपनिंग कराओगे तो फिर नंबर 3 पे कौन खेलेगा? लाइक ये पहले सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन है।
मेरे ख्याल से फिर वही ऑप्शन बच जाता है कि आप ऊपर करें उनको अजिंक्य रहाणे को, और फिर 5 पे हनुमा विहारी को खिलाओगे। ऑप्शंस की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं सर।
अच्छा, ऑप्शन नहीं, लेकिन मैं टोटली डिसएग्री करूंगा, क्योंकि पुजारा आपका ओपनिंग स्टैंड तो बन ही नहीं सकता ओपनिंग, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि आप अगर मैं उसकी जगह कोई अगर यंग बंदा अगर वो आपका ओपनिंग करता तो मैं आपसे अग्री करता, लेकिन आपका एक रिस्पेक्ट लाइक एस्टैब्लिश प्लेयर नंबर 3 खेलने वाला बंदा अगर ओपनिंग करेगा, सॉर्ट ऑफ आउट ऑफ फॉर्म है, अगर वो भी डायरेक्ट ओपनिंग करे तो वहां पे भी, और उनका थोड़ा लाइक आपको पता होगा अगर ओपनर इंग्लैंड में ओपनिंग कर रहे हैं तो वहां पे उनका लाइक स्विंग होता है तो काफी दिक्कत जाती है, और वहां पे लाइक फेलियर होने के काफी बड़े ज्यादा चांस बढ़ जाते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि टीम मैनेजमेंट पुजारा के साथ ये रिस्क लेना चाहेंगे कि उनको ओपन कराए और उनको बैक टू फॉर्म लाए, और वो भी इंग्लैंड में जाके। हाँ, अगर टूर होता इंडिया में या कोई होम टूर होता तो वहां पे अगर ये एक्सपेरिमेंट ट्राई आउट कर रहे थे, पुजारा को नंबर 3 से ओपनर पे लाते, तो मैं आपके बात से कहीं कुछ हद तक अग्री भी कर देता। लेकिन इंग्लैंड जैसे जगह पे पुजारा को ओपनिंग में ट्राई करना इट्स नॉट अ गुड ऑप्शन एट ऑल, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि पुजारा लाइक प्लेयर को लाइक थोड़ा अगर आपको अच्छा स्टार्ट मिल जाता फिर वो आपको अच्छा लाइक बीच में एक स्टेबिलिटी प्रोवाइड करते हैं, तो वो थोड़ा बैक टू फॉर्म आने को थोड़ा टाइम लग सकता है उनको, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि वो नंबर 3 पे ही सुटेबल है, तो नंबर 3 पे ही रहना चाहिए।
Okay, moving on to the final options we have. Okay, KL Rahul could be an option for opening, but looking just got the news from the team management and by the sources, KL Rahul has been looked at as a middle order batsman. So will he be the choice as an opening batsman, or because the team because the sources are saying that team management are looking as a KL Rahul as a middle order batsman. So what's your take on that, Lucas?
Well, if they're going to bring in KL as a middle order batsman, then that means they're going to open with Pujara.
Yeah.
So and that means you would have to move Rahane up to 3. So automatically, I I can't see anything but being a disaster. If you get out, Pujara and Rahane, they were the worst offenders in that Test match against New Zealand. Confidence is down, horribly out of form. And if you open with Pujara, he gets out cheaply. That means you're exposing Rahane to that new ball as well. And if he gets out cheaply, then you're getting in Kohli early. So India could be two for 10. They could be 2 out in 3 overs, and that's something you do not want to expose Kohli to. He's not that type of player. He's a player that likes to come in around about the 20th, 30th overs, and dominate tired bowlers. And it's just not practical for Pujara and Rahane to come in to open and to come in at number 3. It's just it's a disaster ready to happen. I could be wrong, for their case. I hope I'm wrong, but it would be a very bad mood on behalf of India and Ravi Strasi, who is the Indian coach.
Okay, let's take some question. And before we take some questions, I want to say my point of view, because if you're looking at KL Rahul as a middle order batsman, then I think you are going with the wrong option. I think if you want to play KL Rahul and you want to make him an opener, he is an opener. I know he's batting at number 5 in ODIs. That is because he was a wicket keeper and he can't open automatically after keeping 50 overs. So that's why he's batting in the middle order in ODI. But he isn't keeping here, so you will definitely, if you want to give him a chance for KL Rahul in the Indian team, you should be giving him in the opening slot. And before going to anywhere else, I think you should give a chance to Mayank Agrawal before anyone else. So guys, let's take some questions also. Gaurav Ahire has asked that Indian team went Prithvi Shaw to open. How does it will affect on Mayank Agrawal and KL Rahul if their presence team management wants Shaw to open? It must affect their confidence. That's a very good point Gaurav Ahire is making, that team management by looking by getting know from the sources that team management has just informed probably Rahul Dravid or from anyone who is in Sri Lanka, that they want Prithvi Shaw as early as possible in England. So what's your take on that, Lucas?
Well, sure, he had his chance in Australia. He played in that as Australia called it, the bat off against Australia A, and he wasn't very good in that game. And he's really struggled since. If you're going to pick him over Agarwal, who's got 2 double hundreds, played really well, did also all good in New Zealand, that the confidence would be a huge dent. At the end of the day, they are professional players, but they still affect mentally by these decisions. As you said, he'll be nervous if Agarwal does get picked, and that's not ideal. But you can only go with who you believe in. And I would feel very bad for Agarwal if Shaw did open and got the nod over him. Personally, I've seen a couple of innings of Shaw, and I'm not really convinced. I think that would be another bad mood if they picked Shaw over Agarwal. So if you're going to bring in someone, 100% has to be Agarwal. It cannot be anybody else. It has to be Agarwal. So it's up to India to decide, if we're going to do that or if we're going to open with Pujara, which could be disaster. But if it was me, Agarwal has to play.
Yeah. Shubman, your take on this question? Gaurav Ahire has asked, Indian team management wants Shaw to open. How does it will affect on the Mayank Agrawal and KL Rahul confidence because their presence in the team management and team management has not showing a faith on them? Probably, I think if you talk about Mayank Agrawal, then definitely yes. But if you talk about KL Rahul, he has been given a fair chance. He was given a fair chance, then he was dropped. So if you talk about Mayank Agrawal, then definitely yes, he would be affected by this move. Shubman, go ahead with that.
Yeah, definitely. If they bring Shaw in, then obviously insecurity is something which is very valid in international sport. So if I think this management likes Prithvi Shaw because they want an opener who can take the game away, like Virender Sehwag did in his prime. So Shaw, yes, you can raise questions against his technique, but Shaw is a quality player. Like you have some players, those like whom you want to watch. You want to go to the ground to watch. I remember Ian Chappell always commenting on Dog Waters. Dog Walters, if Lucas can recall, there was a cricketer. He was like Virender Sehwag and Adam Gilchrist. All these players, like they are crowd pullers. So Prithvi Shaw can definitely it will affect their confidence. Mayank Agrawal is someone who needs confidence. KL Rahul again the same. But I think yes, if Prithvi Shaw, if you need an opener who can change the course of the match within the span of 10 to 15 overs, then it will be Prithvi Shaw, and I won't be hesitant to play Prithvi Shaw anywhere.
रुपेंद्र, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस टॉपिक पे?
Exactly, I would love to see Prithvi Shaw, but it isn't possible right now. ठीक है, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे आपको एक पॉइंट बता दूं, क्योंकि जो श्रीलंका टूर हो रहा है वो 25 को लास्ट मैच है, ठीक है. उसके बाद जो इंग्लैंड टूर होने वाला है 4th और 5th अगस्त को स्टार्ट होने वाला है फर्स्ट टेस्ट में, ठीक है. तो आपको बस 9 डे का गैप मिलता है, तो वहां पे आपका क्वारंटाइन के साथ आपको पॉसिबल नहीं है कि आप उस स्क्वाड में चले जाएंगे, राइट. तो यहाँ पे पॉसिबिलिटी जो भी गौरव जी ने कहा है कि शायद पृथ्वी शॉ को चाहेंगे मैनेजमेंट, लेकिन यहाँ पे पॉसिबल नहीं है. फर्स्ट मैच तो भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. लेकिन अगर पृथ्वी शॉ आते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे फिर मयंक अग्रवाल के साथ जाते हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि मयंक अग्रवाल ने ऐसा कुछ गलत नहीं किया. लेकिन पृथ्वी शॉ की बात ही है कि जैसे शोभन जी ने कहा कि वो गेम चेंज कर सकते हैं, कि आएंगे भाई सहवाग जैसे चौके छक्के मारते, आपको पता ही है. काफी हाइप बनी थी जो फर्स्ट इसके पहले जो 2018 का ऑस्ट्रेलियन टूर था, वो लाइक ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज हो गया कि इंजरी हो गई वार्म अप मैच में. तो वहां पे काफी अच्छा यंग टैलेंट था, तो वहां पे उनके चांसेस ज्यादा बनते थे वहां पे सक्सेस होने के. लेकिन वहां से थोड़ा बहुत उनका फिर वो 1 ईयर का बैन लग गया, तो वहां से उनका डिक्लाइन हो गया. लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर यहाँ पे चांस मिलता है, तो फिर मैं चाहूंगा कि उनको 3rd या 4th मैच में अगर चांस मिला तो काफी अच्छा हो सकता है. लेकिन मयंक अग्रवाल के साथ जाते हो जाएंगे. Yes, Lucas.
Okay, Lucas, you have got the questions which you were looking for. Open with Pujara and Rohit, 3rd Rahane, 4th Virat, number 5 at Pant, and Hanuma Vihari at 6. What's your take?
That would be very, very bad. Like I said, Pujara, Rohit, Pujara and Rahane, they were the two worst batsmen, along with Kohli, in that World Championship Test match final against New Zealand. And they're out of form, and to expose them to that kind of conditions, straight off, like literally first ball, it could be very, very bad for India. They could be two down, after 10 deliveries. That it's just something you do not want to risk. It's something you don't want to try to comprehend, because if they're two down after 10 balls, that means Kohli's in early, and his form is not that great either. And like I said, England, they'll smell blood in the water, and they will put the front foot on the gas pedal, and they won't stop. So that would be a very bad decision if they did that. If they opened with Pujara and Rahane at 3, if they were making runs, if they were in form, I would kind of agree with that. But they are so out of form, they cannot be exposed to players like Anderson, Rokes, and Board in those conditions. There's just no way.
Okay, guys, before we wrap the show, it's time for prediction. Samad Desai has asked today, who will win, West Indies or South Africa in decider? I know it is a T20 cricket, and Lucas won't be answering this question. So Shobhan and Rupendra, go for it, guys. Just a prediction, nothing more than that.
I don't even know the players playing in that team, let alone who's going to win.
Yeah, I know that. I knew that you would come up for something like this. Go for it, guys. Go for the prediction before we wrap the show.
I'll go with West Indies. Yeah, मैं सपोर्ट करूंगा वेस्ट इंडीज. काफी अच्छी क्रिकेट खेल रही है. Shubman,
your prediction?
Yeah. To be brutally honest, I even don't know about the playing 11. I have not watched even a single ball of this tour. To
Just a
be
prediction.
very
Just a
honest,
prediction.
yeah, just a prediction. Obviously, it will be West Indies. Everybody knows that they have got a team. They have got Andre Russell. I've just read the headlines, and they have got all the players back except Sunil Narayan. So obviously, if you are a layman, even if you don't know cricket, you will always go for West Indies. That's the safer side to
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, well, West Indies, they got Chris Gale. Chris Gale still playing? Is he playing in this
yeah.
series?
He's 41 and he's still playing.
And he's bowling as well.
He's bowling as well.
Oh dear, he's what?
West
And he's
Indies
not
for me
willing to
because they
retire.
got
He's just saying that I will play at 45 years age. I will play till 45 years age. Sorry.
West Indies. West Indies for me because they got Gale. That's about it. West Indies.
And can you ever imagine that Chris Gill will be batting at number 3 in T20 cricket? But that's a different topic. We will discuss this somewhere at different point of time. It's time to wrap the show. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Rupendra, thank you. Shubman, thank you. Lucas, very much thank you because you joined us on 2 a.m. right now, right?
Around about 3 a.m. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you
I haven't
very
had
much
my
for your
dinner either. I haven't had my
dedication,
dinner.
towards the game.
Oh, he's not having dinner today.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. It's time to wrap the show. Thank you, everyone. Lucas, Rupendra, Shubman will join tomorrow at 10 a.m. Indian Standard Time. We'll have a different show. We'll discuss about tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll meet tomorrow at 10 a.m.
We have got someone special. We have got someone special.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Yeah, we have got. Gaurav.
Till then, take care.
I guess we
do like, subscribe, and
Gaurav.
don't forget to hit the bell icon.
I think we have got. We have got somebody very special across the ditches, as they say. Lucas would know. So yeah,
Across
I'm
the
pretty
ditch.
excited. Yeah.
For finally a time zone I can agree with.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Till then, it's time to wrap the show.
But I guess if you're in Western
like my
Australia,
videos.
then you will face trouble. I guess if you are in Western Australia.
Oh yeah. Thank God I'm not there either.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
It'll be Christmas the time I see this video with the time difference.
Okay, guys. It's time to wrap the show. Do like my videos. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon for the latest update on cricket. Till then, bye everyone. Bye. Take care, guys. We'll meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much. See you later.